The festive season is a time for family. Many people look forward to spending this time with their family, but for some, the season exacerbates their loss. The COVID-19 pandemic has seen families suffer loss at unprecedented levels. This time may just further highlight the gaps left by those who have passed on. So how do you cope with grief during this time? Let's speak now to Helena Dolny. She's the co-founder of Love, Legacy, Dignity and author. Helena, good evening to you. One of the most difficult things is having to navigate, loss during this time. And there's a story that we just played now of a family that's lost several family members. How do you navigate this loss during such a time when people are celebrating?
I think it's very difficult. Thanks, Bongiwe, for having me, and good evening to listeners, and especially those who are grieving. I know so many people who are home alone this Christmas, and it's very, very hard. And some people are home alone because they have COVID and they are isolating. And some are home alone because they've been widowed in these recent weeks. And it's really tough going. I think what we know in terms of supporting people is that from our point of view of supporting people, grief needs to be witnessed to help healing. So if you can make that call, drop off some flowers, drop off a meal, whatever you can do, a book to read, but something which says, I'm thinking of you. And if you can't move, then if you can send a WhatsApp message or a photograph. But if it's you yourself, then what you need to be careful about doing is, how do you not fall into depression? How can you look after yourself? How can you make sure that your day is structured so that you not ending up in the evening still in pajamas, but that you got up, you moved, you listened to music, you made the person present, the loved one that you've lost. Maybe you've got a memory table or a photograph, and that you cook something that they loved, or you listen to music, that you do something that honors them and honors their memory, rather than trying to push it away. Sing their favorite hymn, pray their favorite prayer, but whatever it is that brings them, so that you're bringing them, because love doesn't die. The love of that person still lives within you.
Now, for someone who, tonight, as you say that, try to move around, remember them, remember the moments, don't shut it out. But someone tonight is lying in bed, they haven't got up, they don't have the strength to get up, they're refusing to get up because for them life doesn't look like it's worth living. Where do they begin to draw the strength from just to get up, not even be able to do other things, but just to get up and take a bath?
So I think that one of the things, you might just want to curl up and stay in bed until the morning. And if that's what you need to do, then that's okay. I think if it goes on for days and days and days, then you would be self-compassionate to seek help, to reach out and seek help.
And Helena, pardon me.
What I find...
Yeah, continue, sorry.
What is comforting is that however rough it is, what I find comforting is that whilst we all grieve differently and very uniquely, and there's no recipe for it, we are hardwired that we will wake up and begin to feel better.
And for those then that are saying, I've just suffered this loss and I'm not willing to, I've lost so many relatives, or this is such a huge loss for me, I don't even know where to begin to process the loss. How then do we begin to do that? Because other people opt to just continuing with life and shutting it out, pausing it and filling their day with all sorts of things. But that is not necessarily good, is it?
So I think you can do both. I think it's good to be moving forward with life and to be keeping busy. Multiple loss is really difficult. I know someone who's had 9 losses this year, and the grief experts say that if you are thinking of 9 people all at once, that's not going to work. And what will be really good and helpful is to take some time to think of each person separately and honor the memory of each person separately, and give yourself that time to think of them and what they meant to you in your life. And if possible, if you can talk with others, then share stories about them. Mm. And if you're the friend, then be the listener. People need to be listened to.
And would you then say that those who, hold on to some kind of faith during this time, that can also work for them?
I think faith, ritual, anything that helps you, but ritual is very healing. So faith often gives people ritual. Many faiths have 7-day ritual or a 40-day ritual or even a year of ritual, and that is very helpful. If you don't have that in your faith, or you don't have a faith that provides you with that, then create it for yourself. I found when my husband died, then the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying has a 40-day candle lighting practice in the evening. And I found that ritual of every evening lighting a candle and sitting quietly and thinking of the person was something that actually gave comfort.
Mm-hmm. And for those who support, people who are grieving, I've seen, some people opting to say, no, toughen up, because if you don't toughen up, you're going to sink into depression. So you need to move. You need to really just stop talking yourself down, if I can even put it that way. But how do you begin to be on the other side of the call and not seem like you're forcing this person to grieve your way, and at the same time you're trying to get them out of a potential depressive episode?
Yeah, I think being told to toughen up is possibly cruel when you are feeling miserable, and everybody grieves differently, and what people need is kindness and compassion rather than, it's time that you got over this, it's time to toughen up. I think, no, kindness and compassion are going to be more helpful for people to move forward. I think if you can encourage people to say, can you come for a walk with me? Or I just heard this music, can I play it to you on my phone? So that you're engaging with them. And if you can encourage them to move, to walk, to look at photo albums, whatever it is that they do. But I think being told to toughen up is not a very kind thing to be told.
And when you then are looking at these pictures, and maybe you're taking someone through a process of grief, or you're grieving yourself, and you have a lot of questions. Some deaths are very sudden and, really unexpected, and you don't know where to begin to find out why, and why so soon, and all of those things, and maybe where they are, is their spirit okay and stuff. How do you begin also to deal with those questions in such a way that it also brings you some kind of closure? Because these are some of the questions that you carry with you during the process of grieving.
So I think that it's wonderful to have questions, but it's more important that your first step is acceptance. It has happened. And quite often people feel guilt. If only I had been there. If only I hadn't left and gone for a copy at that moment, and that's the time that they died. If we can be self-compassionate, and the first step in dealing with grief is to accept that it has happened. The second step is to have a gratitude practice. It's shown scientifically that people who kind of think, what am I still grateful for in my life, even though this terrible thing has happened? And if you could have a gratitude practice for 30 days, you're writing down every day, what is something that I'm grateful for today? And the third thing is to work out what is helping me and what is harming me. If in fact, every time you look at the photo albums, you start to weep and weep and weep, then that's not helping you. If you call one friend and you find them comforting, that's the person to carry on talking to. If you call another friend who's telling you to toughen up, then that's not the person. So they say those three things: acceptance, gratitude practice, and then working out what is helping me, what is harming me, are the three essential elements in trying to find and inch your way forward. It's not very fast for many people, it's slow. And I think that's what people don't realize, that normal grief can take up to 2 years. There are some people who within 6 weeks, they're moving along and they've got they loved that person very much, but they've got an acceptance and they are looking for a way of going forward. And other people need a lot longer to absorb the grief and navigate their way slowly, as though they're almost in a traffic jam.
Certainly. Thank you so much, Helena, for that, especially because some of the families tonight are really just looking to any conversation that can bring some kind of hope. And as you say, gratitude practice. And I think we don't need to lose someone to practice gratitude. Thank you so much for that.
Thank
and
you.
Merry Christmas. Go and enjoy what's left of the next couple of hours. That was Helena Dolny. She's the co-founder of Love, Legacy, Dignity, and she's also an author.